of us here. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.
1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men experience physical violence by an intimate partner during their lifetime. Many more suffer isolation, financial control, manipulation, and other forms of abuse, which often leaves a lasting impact and can even lead to physical violence. Serving 10 Georgia counties, Safe Homes provides emergency shelter, safety planning, counseling, support groups, assistance with protective orders, and more. All services are free and confidential. If you're experiencing abuse, you are not alone. Contact Safe Homes to learn more.
No tricks, just treats for your Halloween evening forecast. We are unseasonably warm right now, but later on tonight it will be feeling nice and mild, staying dry. I'll have a look at your full forecast coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 and 7, looking at early voting numbers in Georgia. We'll break down who's been casting their ballots. Also ahead will be leftover debris from Hurricane Helene impact trick-or-treating, and why loud noises and flashing lights of Halloween may be an issue for people with epilepsy. And your News at 7 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 7.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching News Channel 6 at 7. I'm Dee Griffin. Thanks so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with early voting in Georgia. Around half of registered voters in the Peach State have already cast. How will the recovery from Hurricane Helene impact Augusta's new budget? The plan holds spending at this year's level, but that means no increases for the sheriff or district attorney offices. 10 years ago, the cost of cleanup from the ice storm resulted in a tax increase, but the mayor says there are ways to cut spending and not raise taxes.
Creating the efficiencies, there's efficiencies to be found in this government, I assure you. And we're going to explore all those opportunities to make sure before we consider passing on any tax increase for our citizens that we've done our due diligence as elected officials to find opportunities to save money.
Commissioners are scheduled to begin budget work sessions next week with the hope of approving the final version November 19th. Well, it's time now for a first look at our weather, and here's Chief Meteorologist Jenna Petracci, and it's a nice, warm Halloween night.
I mean, it really is, Dee. We are unseasonably warm for this time of the year. In fact, Augusta Busch Field climbed all the way up to 84 degrees. That was our recorded high temperature today. And right now, our sensor is out. Unfortunately, wish I could show you this data, but I can tell you that based off across the CSRA, I'm sure Augusta is still sitting nice and warm with those temperatures in the low 80s. You can see that now here on our map. We're actually dipping down into those mid 70s now. So 79 down in Waynesboro, 78 in Millens. Waynesboro, you're at 77. We've had some passing clouds today, also some patchy fog earlier this morning. Satellite and radar not showing any rain though, so it's completely dry for the trick-or-treaters tonight. It's going to be mild as we go into the evening hours, maintaining those 60s. So definitely very warm for the evening hours as well. And as we look ahead here, the next few days are staying pretty consistent. Highs around 80 degrees, lows around 60. Coming up, I'll have a look at your forecast as we head into next week for the first week of November. So stay with us, but back to you, Dee.
All right, thanks so much. We will see you again soon. With Halloween festivities underway, you'll want to keep in mind those who may have a tougher time with the lights and tricks. Rhea Smith has the story.
While Halloween is for tricks and treats and a spooky good time, it's important to remember that there may be people who might be triggered by the sights and sounds.
Photosensitive epilepsy is basically a condition whereby flashing lights or rapidly changing figures might actually trigger a seizure.
Nearly 500,000 children in the U.S. suffer from epilepsy, and holidays like Halloween can be a trigger to someone with the condition.
With those patients, we would advise them to stay away from light flickers or strobe effects, anything that might bring on their seizures.
Wellstar MCG has an epilepsy center where they focus on helping children with their conditions. Dr. Deborah Moore-Hill is the chief epilepsy and suggests keeping a few things in mind.
Avoid the flashing lights if you have photosensitive epilepsy. Hopefully their parents or friends might have a rescue therapy for them. We have nice rescue therapies that actually can be just inserted into the nose in one spray will kind of abort a seizure. So watching out for those types of things and just having that rescue plan in order before going out.
Dr. Moorhill says while many people have it, epilepsy is still misunderstood.
It is the fourth most common neurological disorder. However, a lot of people just don't know about it, or they think all seizures look the same, and they don't.
November 1st begins Epilepsy Awareness Month, and AU is hosting a walk to raise awareness.
Our walk is geared towards epilepsy awareness. We're going to have some patients out there who have lived experience with epilepsy, and they're going to share their stories. Both an adult and a pediatric patient should be there.
If you are someone who suffers from epilepsy, you might want to try a buddy system or going with a group of family and friends to trick or treat and celebrate. In Augusta, Bria Smith, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Trick-or-treating still happening post-Hurricane Helene near Walton Way. This area was hit hard during the hurricane, but the residents still want to try to make that area look like it usually does on Halloween. Isabella Moody is live on Glen Avenue, where they are shutting the road down for the trick-or-treaters. That's a great area for trick-or-treating.
Trick-or-treaters are still out sporting their costumes and enjoying Halloween's most beloved activity. Deputies closed off parts of Glen Avenue this evening. With help from FEMA and Richmond County Sheriff's Office, debris has been rearranged to keep the sidewalks clear for a safe trick-or-treating. And kids are enjoying a different type of decoration for this Halloween.
I like those, the tree stumps where it's cut. I like when they do, paint them like pumpkins or monsters. I think that's really fun. Every time I drive around, I'm trying to, look. I'm trying to count them. I saw one tree that had eyes on it, and they'd cut in the arms to look like real arms.
Residents are not letting Hurricane Helene ruin their time-honored tradition. Live in Augusta, Isabella Moody, WJBF News Channel 6. Back to you, Dee.
Thanks so much, Isabella, and it looks like a great time for everyone. Well, WJBF and our Giving Your Best partners are celebrating more than 30 years of Halloween with a Heart, where kids in special education classes get to trick-or-treat in an exclusive way. Some 1,300 children from schools across the CSRA came to the Columbia County Exhibition Center today. It's tailored for kids with different physical abilities and certain sensitivities, and it allows them to enjoy the holiday in a meaningful way.
It's inclusive. That's my most important part, is that they get excluded. Sometimes it gives them a chance to have fun without being in the chaos of getting right out of school and having a trick-or-treat. She's having a good time. She's got on her cowgirl costume and she's ready to ride.
Love that. Happy Halloween, Mariah.
Say happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Oh, so cute. Now, if you missed it this year, you can plan to get in on all the fun next year as we continue to host and grow Halloween with a Heart. Well, coming up, there are 5 days left. Count them 5. Both candidates.
Well, we could certainly use some rain. I'm sure that's no surprise to anyone that we are now in the first phase of drought across the entire CSRA. How do our rain chances look as we head into the month of November? I'll have your full forecast when we return. What's the big thing to note back then? There was a ½ inch of rain. So it's very typical around this time of the year for us to be pretty dry, though, and that was the case today. Last year, we were only in the low 70s, and back in 2020, we had a high of only 68. So that just goes to show how much the temperatures vary this time of the year. Right now, our temperatures are in the upper 60s through upper 70s, warmer down towards the south in places like Swainsboro, and a nice Halloween sunset. Here's our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam. Satellite and radar showing the clouds pushing out of the area, so we'll be left with mostly clear skies for now, and then some patchy fog developing overnight. A cold front draped across the central portion of the United States headed towards the east coast. This front is continuing to weaken, though, so there's no severe weather happening at the moment, but definitely some heavy downpours here across Mississippi and down to Louisiana. For us tomorrow, we could see some sprinkles from that front, but for the most part, it will be dry and mostly cloudy at times. Temperature is warm once again, low 80s in the afternoon. And here's a look at your football forecast for Game Night Live. Batesburg, Leesville at Saluda. Kickoff still still in the low 70s and mild temperatures at night in the mid-60s. Our highs will be staying in the upper 70s to low 80s over the next several days to come. And finally, introducing some chances of rain. On that 7-day high temperature trend, we will be going down to around 79 once this comes through on Sunday, but that's about it for the cool down. We're watching the tropics as well, actually pretty active for this time of the year as we head into November. 2 areas of possible development around the Caribbean Sea. We'll be keeping a close eye on it and we'll keep you updated. Lows tonight will be in the upper 50s with that patchy fog. Highs tomorrow will be in the low 80s, partly cloudy and dry. Here's a look at your 10-day forecast. We got a lot going on. So Halloween today, and then we fall back on Sunday. We turn those clocks back an hour. So we get more sleep, but we also get some earlier sunsets around 5:30. And then, of course, Election Day next week. It's going to be a warm one, highs in the low 80s. And I just cannot believe these low temperatures are in the 50s and 60s. I mean, that is definitely unseasonably warm. But next weekend, it looks like we'll have a little bit of a higher chance of a cool down.
Okay, the dip is coming.
Yes.
All right. Well, tonight's the night. Halloween never disappoints with a wide variety of costumes for people of all ages.
That's right. And we saw a very unique costume right here last night. Let's take a look. I recently found out that a 3rd grade girl named Nora Knott planned on dressing up as me for Halloween this year. So, of course, I had to meet her and surprise her with something special. You get to be the weather girl of the day, and I'm giving you a special invitation to come to WJBF. Nora was given the Weather Kid of the Day certificate. She toured the studio with me dressed in her meteorologist Jenna Halloween costume. We had so much fun with the News Channel 6 crew, and her very proud dad, Liam, was there cheering her on. Nora learned a lot about what it takes to be a meteorologist, starting with how to use augmented reality weather graphics.
7 a.m., 57 degrees. 8 a.m., 59 degrees.
And after that, Nora took on the green screen.
I'm Nora Knott at WJBF. Swainsboro has a pretty sunset, but it's almost all down. It's almost going to be dark. Aiken has a 75 degrees. Barnwell has a 77 degrees. On Sunday, it's going to be 79 degrees.
Once Nora mastered her craft, she made her debut on WJBF by giving the final forecast. Fantastic job, Nora. You definitely earned the title of Junior Chief Meteorologist.
Awesome. Way to go, Nora. Well, still ahead is artificial intelligence coming for our jobs. Details on the findings from a new report from Indeed after the break.
Ready to develop more than a...
Now to a report from Indeed Hiring Lab.
The WJBF Live Viper 6 Skyview Network is sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai. Low prices, big selection, and committed to quality customer service.
Now to a report from Indeed Hiring Lab. Researchers evaluated job skills to determine the likelihood of artificial intelligence replacing human workers. Perry Russum tells us about the findings.
Is artificial intelligence coming for our jobs? A recent report from Indeed Hiring Lab reveals how likely it is that generative AI replaces human workers.
So we looked at over 2,800 skills across 16 different occupations, and we actually used AI to see whether or not it would be a good fit to cover those skills.
The researchers dividing skills into 3 categories: theoretical knowledge, problem-solving ability, and physical presence. They found that generative AI is particularly strong when it comes to theoretical knowledge.
Anything with a lot of technology use or calculations, rudimentary tasks that can be kind of performed over and over again.
But when it comes to problem-solving ability, generative AI is less adept, struggling to match a human's creative thinking, adaptability, and judgment, which many job skills require.
That really does take human ingenuity.
For physical presence, skills requiring hands-on tasks or in-person interactions, generative AI's potential is significantly limited.
And of course, hands-on skills really was not what Gen AI was set up to do.
Ultimately, the impact of AI on a given occupation will depend on the skills the job calls for. Fields like accounting, marketing, and software development require skills that fall into the theoretical knowledge category, and therefore some of that work has a higher potential of AI-driven replacement. But indeed, researchers add that only about a quarter of the skills analyzed could potentially be replaced by generative AI, and human intervention remains critical in most cases. Despite any fears workers may have, experts say generative AI is more likely to support workers than replace them.
Take accounting, for example, it could help balance books and solve an equation. But as far as taking in the personal needs of that business, that's something that's still going to require a human. I think it's important to think about jobs as a set of skills rather than just one singular activity. And AI may be able to help a lot in those skills, depending on what your job is, but it's certainly not coming for your job anytime soon.
Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
Dr. Chandra R. As our community begins to pick up the pieces after Hurricane Helene, we want to remind you that Augusta Flooring is here to help with any of your flooring repairs or replacements.
We know this is a challenging time, and we're committed to making the process as smooth as possible, whether it's guidance on selecting the right material or a quick consultation.
Augusta Flooring, serving the CSRA for over 30 years, just off Washington Road on Bobby Jones Expressway, proudly veteran-owned and operated.
Call or visit today.
We're in this together, and we're here to help.
Halloween for babies at the Cleveland Clinic Children's Neonatal Center is no tricks but all treats. Look at these adorable little sweetie pies. Parents and caregivers dressed the smallest patients in costumes. They included a caterpillar, singer Taylor Swift, a cow, a bride, a zebra, a football player, and more. How adorable. Look at the twins there. During what can be an emotional time for families, doctors and nurses say they hope this fun event brings families, parents, and babies a lot of joy. She's like, oh,
She's tired.
I'm tired of this. Oh, look at the cupcake. How adorable. And welcome to the world, boys and girls. Look at that.
They're gonna love looking back at those pictures one day. Oh wow, he's ready to catch the
football
football.
player. Yeah.
Wow, and I heard that Jenny Montgomery's new grandbaby Graham is
Yes.
dressing up as a graham cracker,
Graham cracker.
which is perfect, and the parents are s'mores, I think, or
How
marshmallows.
perfect.
So that is a really cute idea. I can't wait to see those photos.
Love the babies. My son was a lion his first Halloween.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
cute costume too. You can't go wrong with any costume for a baby. And it's nice and warm tonight, Dee, for the trick-or-treaters, and warm again tomorrow.
Yeah, my son's out there getting his treats. Thanks so much for joining us. We're back again at 10 on MeTV. We're always with you at WJBF.com.